Have you ever watched a piece of media that's so vile, so disgusting, and so absolutely dumb and pointless that it makes you as angry as a streamer who tells his viewers to delete themselves?
You should kill yourself now!
Okay, well, I haven't been that angry, to be honest, but the anime movie that I'm going to discuss today did piss me off for being one of the most garbage things that I've ever seen in my entire life. Hello everybody, my name is Hashi, and today I'll be talking about the awful rated anime movie, The Island of Giant Insects. Before I discuss this movie in more depth, I wanted to include a potential trigger warning, as the movie contains subject matters such as sexual assault and extremely gruesome scenarios that involve giant bugs doing disgusting things to humans. So if these are topics that make you uncomfortable, please watch with caution. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more anime content. The Island of Giant Insects is a 2020 horror anime movie with an average score of 3.65 out of 10. I like to think that this movie was created when someone at the studio said, hey, what if we made a movie where more than half of the characters are just the most unlikable pieces of shit, and then we kill off all the likable characters in the beginning, so the entire thing is just an agonizing experience to watch. And then someone else in the studio chimes in and goes like, and what if we also make it into a hentai and also put bugs in it? And then the whole studio just went back to monkey and decided to make a movie full of drawings of naked animated girls with larvae crawling all over their body. To sum it up, this movie is basically just insect porn. While I was watching this movie, a few questions came to mind. Why does this movie exist? What was the point of this movie? Why did I watch this? What was I supposed to get out of this experience? And finally, who the fuck is enjoying this movie? The fucking bug maniacs from Pokemon? Was this supposed to be like entertaining? Because to be honest, by the end, I wasn't really entertained, but by the end, I just wanted to have my ass cheeks pinched by a gigantic stag beetle. So the premise itself isn't actually the worst thing ever. A group of people crash land on a mysterious island, which seems weird because there's like a bunch of houses and like signs that people still live there. And then suddenly they're attacked by gigantic bugs, and now they have to fight for their survival as well as fight against each other when conflict arises. Honestly, that's where my praise of this movie ends. I guess it's not even an original premise because this was a manga first anyways. So I guess I'm not even really praising the movie. So yeah, this movie fucking sucks. The story itself was just kind of so mid that I feel like there's really no point in me talking too much about if it was good or bad. The characters are either just so boring and surface level that it makes a piece of paper look interesting, or just the most unlikable pieces of shit in the entire anime verse or whatever it's called. Why would anybody want to watch a movie where all the characters are just unlikable assholes while they kill off all the good ones in the beginning? This movie is also super violent and very, very disgusting. I'm thinking that maybe like 99.5% of the population of this planet probably isn't like the intended audience for this movie. It's one of those movies where it's just violent and gross for the sake of being violent and gross. If you have ever fantasized about a bug giving you oral I can't even finish the joke. If you've ever fantasized about a bug giving you oral, then maybe this movie is for you. I'm so sorry.
I've made a severe and continuous.
There's stuff like visuals of people getting brutally murdered by gigantic bugs in ways that I can't even describe, because then YouTube's gonna have a mental breakdown because it's just that awful. There's also a scene of wasp babies, like, you know, just being born from inside of people's bodies, and then like these victims are just being consumed from the inside out by these larvae. Yeah, that's fun. Oh, and while the person was being eaten from the inside out by these larvae, they just showed full titties, you know, like completely naked, just being eaten from the inside out by larvae. Bro, what the fuck is this movie? If you think naked girls being eaten by larvae is attractive or something that you want to watch, then maybe this movie is for you. Also, like about halfway through this movie, it just straight up becomes like a hentai. There's some indescribable scenes that I have to censor pretty much 99% of. So thanks. Anyways, let's just fly straight into this deserted island of a movie and start talking about the story. The movie begins at an airport and we see all of our characters spending their time there. But apparently, they're all high schoolers from the same high school. Now, I'm just gonna start off with listing all the characters out because it's just gonna be easier that way. So there's Mutsumi, who is the main character who is obsessed with bugs, and her entire personality is basically bugs, which is convenient because they end up on an island with giant bugs. She's pretty much the only reason why any of them survived. She's kind of a pushover and she never really stands up for herself in the movie, which I guess is supposed to show that like she's a kind-hearted person or whatever. But honestly, at some point I'm just like, bro, just fucking like punch these assholes in the face, goddamn. She cares a lot about bugs. She'd be crying if she steps on a mosquito type shit. She's not like unlikable, but she's also not really a character that I was like, oh wow, I really care about this person. Now we have Chitose, the class president and Mutsumi's best friend, who's kind of uptight. She is only really there for the plot and doesn't really serve much else in the story. She just basically exists as Mutsumi's best friend. To be honest, some scenes make me feel like it's a little more than that, but You know what? I don't even know. They don't go in depth about it, so whatever. We have Ayumi, who is the softball captain, and that's her entire personality. Also, she's into girls. She's one of like the only characters in this movie with like an actual moral compass. So even though she's not that interesting of a character, you know, at least she's likable in some way. Kai, honestly, the only character that I feel like I actually ended up liking at the end of this movie. He's a very self-oriented person and doesn't really connect with others too much, which is why he seems like an asshole at first, but by the end, he proves himself to be the biggest Giga Chad in the entire movie. Moving on to Kamijo. You know what, guys? I fucking hate this guy. He's literally one of the biggest assholes, not just in the entire movie, but in the entire anime-verse. He's basically just a selfish, self-centered, narcissistic piece of fucking garbage. You'll see exactly why I hate him when I describe the story, so let's just move on. Next is Mide, who is the other one half of Garbage Asshole Squad, along with Kamijo. She's basically just an asshole to everyone throughout the entire movie. Again, you'll see exactly why I hate these two. Next is Mami, who is an idol. She's just kind of whatever. I mean, her entire personality is that she just kind of screams and then gets everyone else in trouble because of it. She's not evil, but she's just kind of annoying. Next, we have Mami Stans. Imagine people who are basically chronically online and are way too obsessed with an idol in real life, and you basically know these guys. And finally, we have Ai, who is an optimistic girl in the hiking club, who is also actually one of the only likable characters in the movie, which I guess is probably why the writers decided to kill her off first, so that your experience with the rest of the movie can be just that much more miserable. Let's just move on to the story, shall we? So Mutsumi wakes up on an island and realizes that they have crash landed. She bumps into Ayumi, the softball team captain, and they begin to look for other survivors. On another part of the island, we see the rest of the survivors begin to discuss their options. Mide tries to manipulate the stands by, you know, like showing off her titties and being like, if you get me food, I will show you a good time. And then she literally shoves her melons into like my face. But then the fanboys are like, nah, you're kinda gross. And then Mide decides to be like, okay, well then I'll show you mommy's panties. And she like raises her like dress, and then like, why am I watching this fucking movie?
なんだそれ誰に向かって口聞いてんだ地下アイドル
I'm just gonna sum it up and say that 90% of this scene is just the characters being stupid and arguing and being annoying until our likable character, Ai, decides to tell everyone to shut the fuck up and that they need to work together. Ah, wow, a moral compass in the group. I wonder what's gonna happen next. She goes out to take a piss in the forest, but then she's attacked by some humongous what?
Humongous what? Humongous what?
Humongous bugs. She screams and the other run to see what's happening, and you know, she's taking a piss, so like she's in her underwear, right? So she pisses her pants, and the animation studio thought that was a really important detail to highlight, evidenced by the fact that it literally just zooms in on her crotch and just shows it like getting like, you know, water coming out. Like, okay guys, this is something that I needed to see today. And then she gets stabbed in her ass cheek by one of those bug stinger thingies, and then another bug like shoves the stinger like in her mouth, and then she gets all of her blood sucked out and turned into a human raisin while half naked and taking a piss. I'm not really sure what the point of this scene was. Like, I don't really know what this violence is supposed to serve. I don't know if this is supposed to be entertaining or if it's supposed to be some kind of weird fan service, but I don't understand who's enjoying this shit. Oh yeah, I've always wanted a huge, gigantic, blood-sucking bug to just shove his fucking stinger in my and suck all the blood out of my body. Anyways, the rest of the group gets attacked by these bugs. Mami, the idol, gets attacked, and Kai says to her stands like, yo, aren't you guys her fucking fans? Like, go protect her. And so the fanboys go and run to save her, but then the bug attacks the fanboys and then sucks their blood out, killing them by turning them into some delicious California picked raisins. To be honest, I think this is probably the most realistic part of the movie. Imagine like Jungkook from BTS like getting attacked by one of these giant bugs. How many people do you think would sacrifice themselves to save his cute ass? I don't know if I would, because I'm more of an RM guy, but you know what I'm saying? So Mutsumi and the softball captain Ayumi finally catch up with everyone else, and then Mutsumi is all like, oh my god, it's a papillomachia or something. I don't fucking know. It's a bug species. Mutsumi is able to kill one of the bugs using a hairspray and a lighter, which makes the other bug fly away. The survivors then have a discussion, and I'm gonna mention right now, a lot of dumbass discussions happen during this movie, and all of them are just awful or unpleasant to watch because everyone's dumb or an asshole. But anyways, they're all like, what's happening? Stupid dialogue number 1. Kai asks everybody like, what's happening? Someone explain!
なんだよこりゃ一体どうなってんだよ誰か説明しろよ
What? Are you dumb? Like, how is anybody in this group supposed to know what is actually happening? Stupid dialogue number 2. Mutsumi is basically just explaining about bugs and all this stuff that she knows. And then Mide, the big asshole, is like, you like bugs that much? Gross.
決めはお前 そのむつみのおかげで助かったのよ。
To which Chitose responds, you know she's the only fucking reason you're alive, right? Which is true! Like Mutsumi's the only fucking reason you're alive, and your dumbass is just going out and making fun of her about it. Like, it makes no sense. Like, how? Mutsumi explains to everyone that rescue should be coming in like 3 days, because I guess that's how things work here. I don't really know. Suddenly, they hear something flying, and they think it's like a rescue helicopter, so they all go run towards the noise. But then they're confronted by a giant mud wasp. Chitose pushes Mutsumi out of the way to save her, but then she's captured by the bug, and then like stabbed and like paralyzed, and then taken away to the wasp's nest. Oh, guess what time it is, guys? It's dumbass discussion time number 2. This time, our cast of dumbasses decide to argue whether or not they should go save Chitose. Stupid dialogue number 1. Kamijo is all like, we need a strong leader. I'll be the leader.
こういう時こそ強いリーダーがいるだろう。頭がよ。
I'm the boss man, and I say that she's dead, and I prioritize the life of the living over the dead.
And he says this entire thing with like the most annoying smug face possible.
ありゃ確実に死んだろ。俺は死んだ人間より生きてる人間の安全を優先するね。
同じ学校の仲間だろ。
委員長は家族でもダチでも何でもねえからな。ま、恋人なら助けるかな。
Stupid dialogue number 2. Mutsumi explains to everybody that Chitose is alive because apparently wasps only bring their victims to the nest and then they don't come back after that. And then Mine is like,
You better not be making this up so that you can go save her. I mean, the rescue's gonna come in like 3 days, so she'll be okay.
like, you dumb mother f-
あの女を助けたくていい加減なこと言ってんじゃねえぞ。それに3日もすれば救助隊が来るんだろ。
Can you not understand the reason you're alive right now? These motherfuckers driving me insane right now. Oh my god. Then Mutsumi responds with, we can't really wait 3 days because by then they're gonna hatch eggs inside of the host, and then those larvae are gonna hatch and then start eating the victim from inside of their body. Like, what? So now we get this gross visual that I don't understand why it exists. It's just a shot of Chitose fully naked, you know, full booba in the shot, with larvae just eating her. Why does this exist? Like, is this some kind of fan service? Like, do people find this hot or something? Oh yeah, you know, I love a woman who's being consumed from the inside out by larvae. Anyways, stupid dialogue number 3. So softball captain Ayumi tells Mutsumi like, hey, you know what? Fuck these assholes. Let's just go save her on our own. And then Kamijo responds with,
No, I won't let you go. I'm the leader. If we split up, our chances of survival will go down.
which is technically true, I guess, but at the same time, he says it with such like this smug tone that I don't even care.
行かせねえよ。
どいて。
ここはリーダーである俺の言うことを聞いてもらおうか。俺たちが分裂すると生き残る確率が低くなるだろうが。喧嘩でも何でも頭数が多ければ多いほど有利に働くってもんだ。普通。このわけわかんねえ状況で助けになんていかねえよ。
So then the two begin to yell at each other, and then Kamijo is like,
Don't think I won't hit you because you're a girl, which...
wow, look at this Sigma male. Oh my god. Then Mutsumi decides to use facts and logic and tells them, hey, Chitose is the only one with a working phone, with a working GPS, which apparently could help them find out what sort of bugs are in the area, which would increase their chances of survival. So anyways, they go to save Chitose. While they're walking to their destination, Mire asks Mutsumi, why do you think the bugs are getting big?
なんでこの島の虫は化け物みたいに強大化してるんだ。そうですね。
Mutsumi begins to explain, and obviously she's passionate, so like she keeps going and going and going, and then Mire just fucking makes fun of her for it.
ペラペラよく喋るんだな、虫のことになると。やっぱオリベってキメえわ、虫女。
She just be asking this question to make fun of her or something? Like, oh my fucking god. I kind of wish I could have just put my hand into the screen and slapped the shit out of these assholes. So they get to a village, but no one's there. And then they see that the houses have become the wasp nests. Now, this part is probably the grossest part of the entire movie. They go into the nests only to find out that some of their classmates have become the victims of the wasps. Yeah, they're just being eaten alive by larvae. We get even more naked booba scenes with larvae just crawling on their bodies, which I still don't understand who's the demographic for this? So anyways, they all run outside, and guess what time it is, guys? It's dumbass discussion time number 3. Mutsumi tells everybody, alright, well, let's go find Chitose now. And then Kai is like, well, guess what, guys? I just picked up a phone from someone else. It was still working and got a GPS on it and shit too. The asshole squad then goes,
Oh, well, we got what we came for, so fuck Chitose, let's just go and leave.
and then we get another shot of naked Chitose getting eaten by larvae. As this discussion is happening, we see another wasp carrying another victim back. This guy is Akira, who is Kamijo's only friend, I'm assuming. Which is crazy to me because I can't believe a human piece of garbage like Kamijo would actually have any friends. But at the same time, I'm thinking maybe Akira's not that great of a person either if he's willing to be friends with Kamijo anyway. So anyways, Kamijo decides to be a hypocritical bitch and is like,
Oh, that's my friend. I have to go save him.
and stupidly runs towards the wasp while screaming Akira's name, which is the dumbest. Oh my god, my brain is about to explode from the lack of IQ in this fucking guy's head. It makes no sense. What do you expect other than the fact that you might get attacked and killed if you scream and get the bug's attention, you dumb, disgusting, idiotic, fart-filled. Once again, Mutsumi has to save this dumbass because otherwise he would have gotten killed. Kamijo chases Akira and the bug into his nest, and then he's attacked by a giant wasp. Mutsumi follows him and saves Kamijo by, using the hairspray trick once again. Mutsumi then tells him, hey, maybe we should run away and let the wasps leave, and then we can come back in and save our friends and not put anyone in danger. Oh, but guys, don't forget, Kamijo is an idiot. So he's like,
No, I'm gonna save my friend.
and he goes up to get Akira even though he was literally about to ditch fucking Chitose right before this. This is the same exact situation. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but by this point, I was already sick of this fucking movie while watching it. So outside, the others pour like water on the houses because apparently Mutsumi had a plan to like make the wasps fight each other and they can escape or something, but I'm not gonna go into the science because that doesn't matter really. So the two in the house find Chitose and Akira. Kamijo carries Akira and starts to run, and Mutsumi is like, trying to hold up Chitose, but she's not strong enough to carry Chitose on her own. So, she calls out to Kamijo asking him for help, and guess what he does? He literally just turns around, looks at her, and then runs away. Like, bro. Human garbage? What? I don't think it's hard to tell that like this guy is one of the reasons why I just did not enjoy watching this movie in any capacity whatsoever. Anyways, somehow Mutsumi escapes the nest with Chitose and everyone meets up again. Anyways, guys, guess what time it is again? Dumbass discussion number 4. This time they have to make sure that Chitose and Akira are alive. Stupid dialogue number 1. After leaving her to literally die, Kamijo yells at Mutsumi, yo, my friend better survive.
おい、アキラは助かるんだろうな。
Not even saying thank you to the goddess who that they should literally be bowing down and like kissing the ground and licking the fucking earth's asshole right now. So Ayumi, the Giga Chad, decides to confront him about it. Like, you ain't even saying thank you? You know she's the reason you're alive, right? And then Kamijo's like,
Well, this only happened because I took the initiative.
今回の成果は俺様の行動力があってこそじゃねえか。
oh my god, dude, shut the fuck up. Mutsumi says that the two will be okay, but they need to get some saline solutions or something to get the poison out of their bodies. Conveniently, they find a map in front of them and then they see a medical center in the island, so they start heading there. As they walk towards the medical center, Kai finally becomes the Giga Chad and admits like, hey, Mutsumi's knowledge is really important for our survival.
俺たちにはむつみちゃんの知恵が必要だってこと。
Then Mirei responds with another classic line.
She almost got us killed.
お前らなんか勘違いしてねえか？私たちはこいつに殺されかけたんだぞ。
Like, huh? You know you would have been dead if she wasn't there in the first place, right? Ma'am, is your brain just not working up here? Is there nothing in your skull? Do you have the capacity to think? I'm starting to feel that Kamijo and Mirei just share half a brain cell, and that one half of a brain cell does not fucking work. Right after this, they find a tick on Mirei's back. They then realize that they're stuck in a gigantic tick's nest, which is honestly just terrifying to kind of think about. But of course, because Mutsumi knows everything about bugs, they're able to escape. Eventually, as they're walking through the tick nest, they actually see their teacher, but her face is just entirely covered with big ticks, which... Like, I know we've talked about some graphic stuff so far, but I personally think this might be the most disturbing part of the movie. I don't know why, but maybe it's something about not being able to see what they did to her face is probably the worst part about it all. So seeing her teacher wearing a tick mask, Mommy screams and attracts the ticks' attention. So they all start getting chased by the ticks. Now Mutsumi realizes that the teacher, it was kind of way too late for her to survive. So they decide to use her as a distraction and like knock her into like the ticks. And oh my god, the teacher dies in like the most horrific way imaginable. I feel like I need to wash my hands and my face now. Anyways, it's night and everyone has to bathe in the water because they need to make sure that they're clean from the ticks. And I guess the studio decided to take this opportunity and make this movie into a hentai. So we basically get a shot of all the girls naked. Keep in mind, all these characters are are supposed to be in high school. So saying that it made me uncomfortable might be a little bit of an understatement. The animators be like,
Well, actually, having them be all naked in this pool or whatever is actually really important to the plot because, well, you know, they gotta clean the ticks off, and also, like, you know, each boob represents something about the character.
I guess they knew that this movie was gonna be dog shit, so they needed something to get more people to watch it. So we're gonna see Mami kind of manipulating Ayumi, the softball captain, and she's all like,
Can you please protect me? I know you're strong and you're in the sports club, and I see the way you look at other girls.
yada yada yada, and then they make out, and then they again, this is very necessary to the plot of the movie. Kamijo bathes as Akira lays there unconscious, and Mide approaches him. She's all like,
When Akira wakes up, you and him would be great leaders. You need to take control.
and then we hear them having because, as you know, the one thing I really needed in my life was to hear two of the most unlikable anime characters in the entire universe having sex with each other. I mean, to be fair, they do kind of belong with each other because they both suck. We then see something crawling beneath Akira's skin. They finally get to the medical center and they find some saline solution, but they have to administer it into the people with mouth to mouth because otherwise they wouldn't swallow the solution. I don't know what this is. And this makes Kamijo be very insecure about his masculinity. Anyways, Kai finds the main generator of the building and so basically is able to give power to the whole place. He also finds food and resources for everybody. And of course, these fuckers have to argue about the food and resources. Like, I am so sick of this movie. Oh my god. They basically just conclude that they have to stay there for the next few days until rescue comes. Kai is exploring the base and he finds this weird experimental lab sort of place in the building. He steps on some gooey stuff and then opens like a door and he screams.
何今の貝の声じゃないか
Now, I'm gonna keep this short for you guys, but we never actually find out what's behind that door. Like, they really set up this entire mystery, which is the only intriguing part of this entire movie. And then they decide to blue ball you with that shit. Like, don't waste my time. Oh my fucking god. The others hear him scream and they just kind of assume that he died at this point. Akira wakes up and then begins acting strange. His eyes then start crawling out of his eye sockets and like he becomes like a snail looking thing. He just begins to like make noises and begins dancing around like It is kind of weird and gross, but overall the scene is just so goofy. Akira runs outside and he starts climbing a tower near the medical center, and apparently he's infected by some sort of parasite. Akira continues to scream and he ends up attracting a gigantic insect, and this time it's a Dobson fly or something. I don't know what that is, but yeah. So Akira's killed by the Dobson fly and everyone runs back to the medical center. Oh, but then the Apple squad decides to lock the other three out of the fucking building. Like, okay guys, we get it, okay? You guys suck. You don't have to keep reminding us of how garbage you are. They're like, oh, you guys might be infected like Akira was. Why is it so hard to get it into their stupid, empty, dumbass brain head, whatever, that Mutsumi is the only reason that they're alive? I just don't understand. Okay, so before I move on with this part of the movie, I'm gonna bring back the trigger warning as this relates to sexual assault. So Chitose wakes up and she's still paralyzed. The two assholes then tell her that Mutsumi is dead. Obviously, this is quickly proven wrong because she literally hears Mutsumi outside of the door. And then Chitose begins to yell back. The two assholes are like, oh, we need to shut her up. And then Mide says to Kamijo, you already have something that could shut her up. Which, you know, is obviously in reference to... So then Kamijo, you know, prepares to... Chitose. And Mide holds her down, but before anything can actually happen, it turns out Kai is actually alive and he ends up knocking out Mide and Kamijo and basically just saving everyone there. This is the part of the movie that kind of made it go from bad to just complete garbage for me. Throughout this entire movie, I've been asking, what's the point of this movie? What's the point of this plot point? How does this add anything to the story? I've never felt like that more in this movie than the scene I just described to you. It just felt like the whole thing was just in bad taste and I couldn't even really laugh at this movie anymore. Anyways, I'm gonna move on from this part of the movie. So the others are like, yo, we thought you died, dude. And then Kai responds with, oh, I mean, I just screamed because I found something weird in the lab. Again, this whole thing is just never explained after this, so I don't know why the fuck this keeps coming up. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to make a plot point that's kind of interesting and then never mention it again or tell us what it is. Wow, incredible storytelling. The four then come up with a plan to kill the Dobson fly and they succeed. There's also like an intense, like, you know, fight scene or whatever with Mutsumi and an adoption fly. But to be honest, the scene before this just left such a bad taste in my mouth that I just genuinely stopped caring after this. Anyways, they then decide to leave the two assholes in the medical center, which, oh my god, it literally took them the entire movie to finally do something that they should have been doing from the beginning. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. I didn't just waste an hour and whatever of my life or anything like that watching this movie. The movie then ends with the four going somewhere they're guaranteed to be safe, according to Mutsumi. There's also a post-credit scene that just makes no sense. I think it's like supposed to be the village before it was attacked by the bugs, but two random girls come out of the house and then they're like, we'll be back, to a third girl, but the third girl's just acting sus. But again, this was never really explained, and I don't know what the fuck they expected. Like a sequel? Like, what do you think you are, a Marvel movie? I mean, sure, if the Avengers was just filled with the most unlikable people in the universe, then sure, this would be the Avengers. The end. Yup, this was probably my least favorite movie that I've seen for this series, which is saying a lot. I might go as far as to say that this is honestly one of the worst movies that I've ever seen in my entire life. The story is garbage, the characters are annoying, and honestly, the visuals are so gross that it makes me wonder if the internet was a mistake. The story was obviously dog shit, right? Like, how are you going to introduce actual interesting plot points and then never mention them again? This is quite obvious, but the characters were easily the worst part of the entire movie. Kamijo and Mirei easily made this one of the worst cinematic experiences that I've ever had in my entire life. Like, if I was on that island with them, I would gladly let a wasp take me to their nest, lay some eggs inside of me, let the larvas hatch and feed on me, because that is still a better experience than having to spend a single second with these two assholes. I don't know who's going, wow, I really love seeing people be giant garbage pieces of shit in this movie. I mean, look, maybe there's some people like that. I am not one of them. I feel like we already see so many awful people in real life. I watch movies to escape from real life. I don't want to watch a movie and then be reminded of real things, right? And again, just to touch upon the really awful scene at the end, it was disgusting, obviously, but it also just felt so insensitive and pointless to me. I believe that awful and traumatic events do have a place in storytelling, of course. This scene just felt like it served no purpose at all whatsoever. It's almost as if the writers were like, yeah, this is edgy and deep kind of shit, you know what I mean? Like, they included this because they wanted this to be more of an adult movie. But to me personally, it just kind of made the movie a lot more deplorable. I wanted to make this video to make fun of movies and make jokes and laugh, but this just wasn't funny. I also wanted to talk about the fan service that really didn't need to be in any of this. I don't get why we needed to see so many titties. Like, I get it, you know, fan service gets the money, it gets the bread, people are degenerate. I mean, I play Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. I understand what it's like to be a degenerate on the internet. But even for fan service, I just think this was so dumb. Like, what am I gaining out of seeing Chitose, you know, being completely covered in larva and getting eaten from the inside out? Like, wow. Someone please explain the appeal of that to me, because I don't get it, okay? Maybe I'm just not into bugs like that, but I don't get it. I swear to God, the animators made this movie with only one hand. I get that this genre of movies is supposed to be entertaining, right? That's why people watch horror movies. Like, it's expected from a horror movie for people to die, to have brutal violence and other awful things, because obviously that's what makes horror into an interesting experience. That's what makes horror horror. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing horror correctly anymore. Horror, but you know what I'm saying? You know, like, I enjoy my fair share of horror movies. Like, I've watched Hereditary, I've watched Midsommar, but I don't know, this movie just didn't do it for me, man. It just was not entertaining to me, and it kind of left me in a really bad mood after finishing it. Like, I've watched plenty of bad movies, you know, but this is the second time in my life where I felt angry about a movie wasting my time. The first one being this horror movie called 47 Meters Down. Fuck that movie. I think what makes this movie worse than like other horror movies or other bad movies is probably the combination of everything that's shit about it. I mean, sure, there was needless violence and all that stuff, but that in itself isn't necessarily something that turns me away from something, right? Neither is like people being assholes or like, you know, weird fan service. Like, those individually, yeah, sure, I mean, they're not my favorite things, but they're not gonna get me this angry about stuff. But I think it's the mathematical formula that the studio used, where it incorporates every single awful variable that makes a movie unwatchable, and they just put everything in there. And so here we come back circling to my initial question that I asked. Usually I ask this question as a silly little joke, right? A little silly roast. But this time, I think I'm asking from the bottom of my heart. Why does this movie exist? How did an NPC goofy looking movie like Umi no Aurora have a lot more substance than whatever the fuck this piece of shit was? This movie was awful, and honestly, I just wouldn't recommend it to anybody. At least some bad movies are fun to make fun of. This is just bad out of 10. I don't even want to give it a score. This is just bad. So there you have it. This was easily the worst anime that I have ever seen in my entire life, and I hope to never experience anything like this ever again. Anyways, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe for even more content like this. If you haven't seen the other anime reviews I made, make sure to check it out. The playlist is in the description below. Anyways, that's it for me today, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video that I decide to make.